We will end our programming tonight with a final series of Imagining the Future, Resetting Our Financial World, moderated by the CEO of Dynamic Planet, Kristin Rechberger.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Kathy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Kathy,
Yeah.
we know that human
Can
and
you hear me?
planetary health are inextricably linked. When it comes to resilience, what is the coronavirus teaching us?
I think it's teaching us the power of social connectedness. It's showing us the human spirit of generosity and care. Research tells us that the closer we are to our neighbors and the more socially connected we are, the more likely we are to survive a disaster, natural or otherwise. And so when we see the stories of people supporting each other through this crisis and the way that we're innovating through it, the stories are just remarkable. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, people are turning to nature to get outside and try to understand what this means and to heal from this crisis.
You previously worked at a global commercial bank as head of environmental and social risk. What are the chances of us building in more environmental criteria for risk in our markets after this?
I think there's a big opportunity that's going to present itself, even in the face of this long and dark recovery. And there's a top down and a bottom up movement happening. And the top down is, and that movement means that we will be better reflecting the value of a healthy environment in our financial system. And so there's the regulatory environment for big banks and big corporations, and it's slowly recognizing the costs of harming people and the environment. You know, if you think about your 401k or your retirement fund, there's some bit in there that is hurting people and hurting the environment. And so we know it's not sustainable. And ideally, we want everyone to follow the same rules. And business loves certainty. But that takes time. But on the other hand is the social movement. It's just moving that, the consumer choice and voice is moving like wildfire. And Jim Cramer, who's the host of CNBC's Mad Money, said recently that financial managers of young investors, they know that their clients don't want fossil fuels in their portfolio. And he likened the oil companies to the tobacco companies of the 1980s. And he cited movements of divestment and pushes for institutional investors to divest of oil and gas. And so what that means is that social license to operate has eroded. And the recovery is a big chance to accelerate that change that reflects environment in our financial system. And it will certainly help to have more women and people of color in leadership positions in the financial world.
What type of resilience have you seen in your work that could inform the future?
Well, if you think about resilient people and communities and small business and supply chains and companies, they they make the market more resilient. And we know that the market is not a it may seem like it, but it's not a faceless, nameless thing. It's human behavior. It's a collection of people making decisions. And sometimes those decisions are better than others. And good decisions can lead to good outcomes. And one example is the evidence that resilience planning and practice works. And the former mayor of New Orleans, Mitch Landrieu, recently told a story about the city of New Orleans needing to build a 2,000 bed hospital for coronavirus patients. And because they knew each other, because they had a resilient strategy they built as a part of the 100 Resilient Cities program that Rockefeller created, the Rockefeller Foundation, and because they'd been through Hurricane Katrina, they knew what to do. They knew who did what, and they had that muscle built. And so that muscle, we need to build it and keep it strong. And we will need it, we need it now and we'll need it in the future.
Hmm. You had a great piece in Foreign Policy recently. What kind of climate actions can communities take now?
Well, there are some really tried and true things. We talk a lot about innovation, but some of the things that we can do to reduce our risks of climate change are simple. Lighter surfaces like lighter rooftops and sidewalks and streets that reflect light and heat instead of absorb it and then emanate it at night. And many nature based solutions, not surprising, again, pocket gardens and rooftop gardens. They feed people and cool the air and store water. And we're seeing evidence of those gardens. Long time program in Quito, Ecuador, where thousands of families, particularly led by women, have changed their economic futures with these gardens. And we're working with the city of Chennai on rooftop gardens in India. And so these are as simple as trees cooling neighborhoods and absorbing pollution. And um, we know nature is our superhero.
Hmm. And what advice do you have for us as we build our own personal resilience towards a better future?
It's simple. Know your risk. What are your risks and what reduces those risks? Think about think about where your house is, think about where you live, think about your health, think about your finances. Just understanding, even trying to quantify what those risks are, that's a good start to building your own resilience. And I, in terms of being optimistic, I would say we have what we need to reframe and rebuild the financial world as we come out of this crisis. We've learned a lot. We're different coming out. We have the policy, we have the money, we have the innovation. We just need to pour all that positive energy and the social capital that we've built, pour it into fighting the virus, but also pour it into building a more sustainable financial system, a more sustainable world, and of course, make every day Earth Day.
Thank you so much for being with us, Kathy.